now I'm gonna go over the data that I would have collected. I would have collected it. There's many ways that you could collect the data. I'm gonna go over 3 of the ways that you could have collected it. One of the ways was how we were doing it all semester, which was with Logger Pro and a sensor and a stopwatch. That would have been the easiest. That is what I was originally going to do, just because it gives me a clear picture on everything and how if everything correlates together, and it'll give me a good idea on the force, and the slope would give me a good idea of the force and what exactly the numbers were, and the graph, if it was linear, I would know that there would be a relationship between everything. So that's one way you could I could have collected the data. A second way is, which will involve more math, which is the spring, just using the measurements of the spring. We did go over it in this semester in class with the whole 180, 360, the pi, the radius calculation with when it comes with a spring, the stretch of the spring. So I could have done it that way, just calculate the stretch of the spring and the distance. But that would have been more complex and more time consuming. Another way I could have done it if I wasn't as didn't have a good math skills, I could have also done a 2 meter. I could have just set a distance and set a timer and start the timer once my cart went going. I could have done it that way as well. I could have just set it at a certain distance and see the time that it'll take for it to reach that end of the 2 meters. Or I could do it vice versa. I could set a timer and see where exactly the mousetrap cart will land on its own, and repeat it as many times, like 10 times, a good 10 times, to see what is the most accurate data that it shows and it performs. Also, I want to go ahead and get into the force and the acceleration and all that fun stuff. I noticed that when you twirl the balloon string back and you let it go, once the mousetrap cart hits back, so once the clamp hits its midpoint and it hits back, that's when it's gonna use its full force. That's when you're gonna see your mousetrap cart accelerate the most, and it's because of the force. The force of the clamp going back, hitting back to its original position. It's gonna give the full amount of force of the cart. So that's where you're gonna see the most speed in the mousetrap cart. Whereas in the beginning, you're not gonna see as much of your cart will move, but because it's gonna spring back into its original position. That's when it's going to go at full force.